Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Soul Spa Hypno, where hypnotherapy meets practical spirituality. I am Pia, the Soul Mentor, and in this session, I want to talk about stop treating the symptoms, okay? And go to the actual root, okay? Now, I know that a lot of you don't know, but I have a background in public health. And working in that environment for the many years that I was there, I saw firsthand that that is a system. And that system is set up to not heal, not cure you. You're not going to ever hear them saying words like that. But that system is set up to manage sickness and disease. Okay. And they do that by medication. They can't put their finger on what's really going on, but they'll write you a prescription and they'll give you medicine to treat the symptoms. And the symptoms that the medication is supposedly treating is stemming from the root, the wound, the cause, whatever it is that is plaguing you. And because that is not being addressed, then the body in all of its magnificence starts to send you alarms like, listen, I need you to pay attention. Something is going on, okay? Something is going on. That is why you are seeing this in your body. That's why you're feeling a certain way. That's why your skin is breaking out. That's why your energy is low. That's why a lot of things are happening. And then when you go, to the healthcare professional and they run all of these tests, right? And, a lot of times they still can't figure out what is going on with you. But they still want to give you a prescription though. Even if it's something that they perceive as maybe it's mental, well, we've run this test, we've checked this, we've checked that, we've gone down the list, we don't find anything. Are you sure that you're not having some some stuff going on upstairs? I've seen it happen so many times. So many times. Well, guess what? That same system, I see it in the spiritual space as well. I see a lot of people, they have different situations going on, right? And instead of going to the root of the problem, well, what is up? They want to treat the symptoms. They want a quick fix. They want a quick fix. Now, that quick fix can come in the form of, and I'm not talking about something like, if you want to lower, well, I won't even say that because then they'll probably take the video down. So let me just see, how can I talk in code? See, I can't stand that kind of stuff. Now I got to try to talk in code in order to, tell the truth. But you know what? The truth don't really need no protection, do she? Nah, she don't. She don't need no protection. But you'll start experiencing certain things. And you try your best to try to get to what is causing it. And when you can't do that, and you might even try certain things, but when that problem continues to persist, and you keep treating the symptoms and the problem still persists, then what do you do then? What do you do then? You got to go to the root, y'all. You have to find out what is the origin of that thing. So I'm going to use a good example. They can't flag me for this one. I'm going to use the example of the mother wound. I just put a video short on my other channel. I have Soul Spa Hypno shorts. And I put my little, short 3-minute videos over there. And I was using the example of the mother wound. Okay. I have never in my life seen women at each other's throats like I see it. I haven't. Mothers against daughters, aunties against their sisters, sisters against sisters. I mean, it is crazy. It's crazy. It don't even matter what the culture is or the skin color. Everybody is at odds with one another. That is ludicrous to me. That's ludicrous to me. It is. And then you can't understand why that is happening, but it keeps happening. It keeps happening. And for those of you who are experiencing issues with your mother, I'm speaking to you specifically right now. If you are experiencing issues with your mother and you can't put your finger on it, and you have done everything in your power to try to appease her and please her and keep the peace and get her to recognize you and get her to tell you that she loves you and treat you like a daughter. And you've been doing that your entire life, and you still find decades later that it's not working. It's not. Something is amiss. And treating the symptoms and jumping through hoops and even going to talk therapy is not the answer. It's not. You might get some relief. But until you decide to go to the origin of that thing, okay, that's the only way it's going to stop. Now, this wound is prevalent because it touches every bloodline. Ain't no bloodline was skipped. Now, some people, some daughters in the bloodlines, they may have gotten skipped, but I can assure you that every bloodline has been targeted. It has been targeted. That's why I wrote my book. This book right here, The Mother Wound, a love story told in blood. It's not a book about hating mothers. It's not a book about shaming daughters either. It is truly a story. It's a spiritual thriller. It is. And the when I went down that rabbit hole and I began to see the things that the Most High was showing me, that my ancestors were showing me, I was like, you have got to be kidding. You have got to be kidding. And when that day, when I finally got to the root of it all, took me all the way back to the very first cut. And I said, look at this madness right here. I made up in my mind right then and there, this ends with me. No more will I allow this poison to travel down my bloodline anymore. No more will I allow it to impact the women that's going to come after me. And I shall stand in the gap for the women that came before me, the ones who didn't have the voice, the strength, the knowledge, or the tools to confront this thing and heal it in their lives. And once I did that, y'all, because I'm one of those daughters. I am one of those daughters who, my mother and I, we never had a relationship. She didn't raise me. Her mother raised me. So that just even added some more layers to that thing. Because most women that have, issues with their mothers, the mother lived in the house with them. And that wound would show up wearing different faces. It could show up being, I'm going to make sure that you have enough food to eat, that you have clothes to wear, but I'm not going to be emotionally available for you. I'm not going to celebrate you when you feel the need to celebrate. Your opinions are not going to mean anything to me. And I'm always going to deflect and let you know about how life has treated me. I could go on and on and on and on and on. I won't even bother to go into the other types of trauma, because if that is you, then you already know. And we don't need to rehash that. But it wasn't until I had gone all the way back to the origin, to the first cut, that's when I realized, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My mind was completely, because see, I was now looking at it through my third eye. And what I saw, I was like, oh no. In my own words, hey, the devil is a liar and a deceiver. Because that right there gonna stop with me. It's gonna stop with me. Okay? And it did. And I did the work. And I just want to encourage you, daughters. If you are in a situation with your mother and you done tried and tried and you done cried and it is really wearing on you, you're going to have to stop. Stop treating the symptoms and go to the root. Pick up a copy of my book and I want you to read it. There is a workbook that's going to be released in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Because this right here is something that you have to actually do the work. And I break it all the way down. I'm telling the story in this one here. But you're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to do it. Because a lot of you have been called and you came back here to be the ambassadors for your bloodline. I'm so excited. I got chill bumps popping up all over me because the divine feminine is rising. And this is a big part of it. Let's go.